Money doesn't avoid you because you're unlucky. It avoids you because of how you think, move, and decide every single day. You don't need more time, you need more discipline. And once that shifts, money starts finding you. Let's get something straight. Money is not emotional. It doesn't care about your dreams, your excuses, or how hard you feel life has been. Money responds to patterns, to habits, to the way you show up when no one is watching. Most people wait for motivation before they act, and they stay broke waiting. I didn't attract money by hoping. I attracted it by changing what I did daily, even when it was uncomfortable. These habits are simple, but they are not easy, and that's why they work. If you apply them consistently, you don't chase money anymore. You become the kind of person money naturally follows. You wake up every morning, and before your feet touch the floor, the world already has its hands on you. Messages, noise, problems, other people's emergencies. And before you realize it, your day is no longer yours. That's not how wealth is built. That's how life quietly drains you. Money does not come to people who live in reaction. It comes to people who decide, early, firmly, and without apology, how their day will be lived. I learned this the hard way. For a long time, I believed I was working hard. I believed I was trying. But my mornings told the truth my mouth wouldn't admit. I woke up late, I checked my phone before I checked my purpose. I let the mood of the world decide the direction of my mind. And then I wondered why progress felt slow and money felt distant. It wasn't bad luck, it was bad leadership. Of my own life? You see, the first hour of your day is a declaration. It declares who is in control. When you start your day reacting, you're telling life, I'll follow. And life is a terrible leader. It will take you in circles, exhaust you, and leave you wondering why nothing ever changes. But when you start your day intentionally, you send a different message. You say, I decide. And that one shift changes everything. Reaction mode feels harmless at first. It feels normal. Everyone does it. You respond to messages. You scroll. You rush. You complain about time while giving it away freely. But over weeks, over months, that habit compounds. Your mind stays scattered. Your energy stays low. Your decisions get weaker. And money requires focus, clarity, and consistency. It doesn't visit scattered people very often. I had to make a hard decision. Not a dramatic one, a quiet one. I decided that no one would get access to my mind before I did. No phone, no news, no opinions, just stillness, thought, and direction. I chose to wake up earlier, not because it was comfortable, but because comfort had never paid me anything. And in that quiet space, I began to think clearly about who I was becoming, about what mattered, about what needed to be done. Today, not someday. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. If you don't control the start of your day, you will spend the rest of it catching up. And you never catch up. You only get tired. Money doesn't come from being busy, it comes from being effective. And effectiveness is born in calm, intentional mornings. When you start your day with purpose, something shifts inside you. You stop feeling rushed. You stop feeling behind. You move differently. You speak differently. You make decisions with weight. Opportunities notice that. People notice that. Life responds to that because order attracts reward. Discipline attracts results. I'm not talking about complicated routines. I'm talking about leadership. Wake up and decide who you are before the world tells you who you should be. Decide what matters before distractions vote on your attention. Decide your priorities before emergencies try to steal them. That's not motivation, that's maturity. And let me be clear, this habit doesn't just attract money, it attracts self-respect. When you lead your morning, you lead your life. When you lead your life, you stop begging circumstances to change. You change yourself, and circumstances have no choice but to adjust. Every morning you have a choice. Reaction or direction, chaos or clarity, drift or design. And the choice feels small, but its consequences are enormous because how you begin determines what you allow, and what you allow determines what you earn. So tomorrow morning, don't reach for the world. Reach for your standards. Sit with your thoughts. Set your tone. Decide your actions. And then step into the day like someone who expects results. Not because of luck, but because of discipline. Every delay has a cost. Not the kind you see immediately, but the kind that shows up years later, when you were still standing in the same place wondering why life moved on without you. Most people don't fail because they chose wrong. They fail because they didn't choose at all. They waited, they hesitated, they thought one more thought, asked one more opinion, looked for one more sign. And while they were thinking, opportunity quietly walked past them. I lived there for a long time, in my head, overanalyzing, replaying scenarios that never happened, trying to make the perfect decision so I wouldn't make the wrong one. And it felt responsible. It felt smart. But it wasn't wisdom. It was fear dressed up as caution.
And fear is expensive. It charges interest every day you delay.
Money does not respond to hesitation. It responds to movement. Clear, decisive movement. You don't have to be right every time, but you must be willing to decide, because life rewards speed backed by responsibility, not perfection backed by fear. Here's the hard truth. Overthinking is a form of self-doubt. It's the quiet confession that you don't trust yourself. And when you don't trust yourself, you move slowly. When you move slowly, momentum dies. And without momentum, nothing grows, especially income. I had to learn to decide faster, not recklessly, not emotionally, but decisively. I stopped waiting to feel ready. I stopped waiting for confidence to show up first. Confidence is built after the decision, not before it. Action creates clarity. Motion creates belief. There was a moment when this really hit me. I had an opportunity, small, imperfect, a little uncomfortable. I saw every possible way it could go wrong. I analyzed it from every angle. Days passed, then weeks, and one day I realized the opportunity was gone. Someone else had taken it, not someone smarter, not someone more talented, someone faster, and that's when it clicked. The world doesn't wait for certainty. It moves with or without you. From that day on, I made a promise. When a decision aligned with my values, I would decide quickly why and commit fully. No mental tug of war, no endless debate, decide and then make the decision right with discipline and effort. And something strange happened. My energy changed, my posture changed. I stopped feeling weak, I stopped feeling behind, because indecision drains your spirit. It splits your energy in half, one part wanting to move, the other afraid to fall. Decision brings alignment. When you decide, your mind, body, and actions move in one direction. That's power. Money recognizes power. It flows toward people who take responsibility for outcomes, not people who blame circumstances, not people who wait for guarantees. Guarantees don't exist. Progress does. You see, every successful person you admire has made bad decisions. Plenty of them. But they made them quickly, learned fast, and moved forward stronger. Meanwhile, the person who waits for certainty stays stuck in preparation forever. And preparation without execution is just another form of procrastination. Decide fast doesn't mean think less. It means trust more. Trust your principles. Trust your work ethic. Trust your ability to adapt. You are more capable than you think, but you'll never discover it sitting on the fence. Life rewards commitment. When you decide, you send a signal to yourself first that you are someone who moves, someone who acts, someone who doesn't hide behind excuses disguised as analysis. And once that identity locks in, everything changes. Your habits tighten, your focus sharpens, your results accelerate. Let me tell you something quietly but clearly. Your future is waiting on the other side of a decision you keep postponing. And every day you delay, the price goes up. Not in money at first, but in confidence, belief, and momentum. So decide, not perfectly, decisively. Choose the direction and walk it with discipline. Correct course if needed, but keep moving. Because money doesn't follow people who think all day. It follows people who act with courage and responsibility. You say you want more money, but look closely at how you spend your hours, because time is the first currency you are ever given. And most people waste it like it's worthless. They complain about being broke while spending their days casually, loosely, without intention. And life is always watching. It listens not to what you say you want, but to what you consistently disrespect. If you disrespect time, money hears that message loud and clear. There was a season in my life when I had big dreams and empty pockets. And I kept telling myself, once I have money, I'll get serious. But that was the lie. The truth was simpler and harsher. I wasn't serious enough to deserve money yet. because I treated time like it would always be there. And time, unlike money, never comes back. Every hour you're given is a test. Not a test of talent, but of priorities. What do you do when no one is watching? When there's no deadline, no pressure, no applause? Do you drift? Do you distract yourself? Or do you invest that hour into something that compounds? I had to face myself honestly. I realized I was negotiating with my own potential, telling myself stories. Just this once. I'll start tomorrow. I deserve a break. And maybe I did, but I was taking breaks from a life I hadn't even built yet. That's not rest. That's avoidance. Money is attracted to structure, to people who live with intention. And you schedule your time loosely. Your results come loosely. When your days have no edges, your progress has no shape. Discipline is not punishment, it's direction. So I made a decision. I began treating my time like it was already valuable, before the world agreed with me. I gave my best hours to my best goals, not to my distractions. I stopped donating my mornings to social noise and my nights to exhaustion. I built days that made sense. Days that reflected where I wanted to go, not where I'd been stuck. And let me tell you, this wasn't glamorous. There were no fireworks, no instant rewards, just quiet consistency, waking up when it would have been easier to stay asleep, saying no to things that felt good now but cost me later, sitting alone with my work while others were entertained. That's the price, and it must be paid in advance. Here's the truth most people avoid. If you don't control your time, someone else will, and they will use it for their priorities, not yours. Employers, algorithms, entertainment, other people's emergencies. And at the end of the year, you'll look back wondering where the time went. It didn't disappear. You spent it carelessly. When you treat time with respect, something shifts internally. You start showing up differently. You walk with more certainty. You stop rushing because you're no longer behind. You stop feeling guilty because you know you earned your rest. That inner alignment is powerful, and power attracts opportunity. Money doesn't just follow effort, it follows efficiency. Two people can work equally hard, but the one who values time will always pull ahead because they understand leverage. They understand that one focused hour beats 10 distracted ones. They understand that daily progress, even small, compounds into something unstoppable. I remember realizing one day that my calendar told the truth about my future, not my affirmations, not my intentions, my calendar. Where my time went, that's who I was becoming. And when I didn't like what I saw, I changed the schedule, I changed the rules, I raised the standard. You don't need more hours, you need more honesty. Be honest about what you're avoiding. Be honest about what you're prioritizing. Be honest about what you say you want versus what you prepare for daily. Life always pays in proportion to preparation. Treat time like money before you have money. Guard it, budget it, invest it where it grows. Stop spending it on things that give nothing back. Because one day, when money does start coming, and it will, you'll realize something profound. Wealth didn't change how you lived. How you lived invited wealth in. My name is Mafia, but subscribe me, please.